make a claim because you do your rates for one.
Well, that's my whole point, you know. So I know people have had things happen to their vehicle and didn't claim it because the rates would go up to cover it anyways, and then they wouldn't lower it back down after they'd send in the amount of, you know, you paid for your accident. But even still, like I said, 10 years at insurance rates for my vehicles is over $10,000, and that buys another vehicle. And so the money's just gone, and that's that. And then you go another 10 years, now we're over $20,000 for, you know, something. So, I mean, gee, by the time you spend $20,000, you're pretty banged up. A $20,000 accident could kill you.
Full cost what it used to cost for full coverage.
I don't fucking know, dude.
And just car insurance. Health insurance too. Astronomical. Buy. You're lucky enough to get it given to you. That might be a little, but I've heard, you know, $15,000 deductible. So shoot time you get $15,000 worth of hurt.
And uninsured motorist coverage. You know, I'm paying for their insurance.
Oh yeah, but what good does that do, paying uninsured motorist coverage? I mean, what the heck is that for? I mean, really, you know. They get hurt, they go to the hospital, they have to pay for themselves.
Guys, standing by. Anybody out here?
You know, I don't understand that, why we gotta have uninsured motorists, because your insurance is gonna cover your car. We're paying for uninsured motorists. That don't make no sense.
Well, get your electric bill out, see actual electro usage, and then the percentage over here of contribution, distribution, agitation, whatever tation charge is on there, and now it doubles your electric bill. It's true, too. And they just add things one way or another. Our gas bills are going to go up around here a little bit, too.
I got gas this morning. It's $2.51.9, and I went by the same gas station this morning. It was at $2.89. I went by it this afternoon at the same gas station at $2.89.9.
From 215?
Went by the same gas station today. Later on in the day, it was $2.89.9.
I don't know, they jack that up and down, up and down, up and down. So, there's no reason for it. The market doesn't move around like that. It's just ridiculous. So, it's a gouging practice that they do. You know, they hold it up a little bit, then they drop it down. Hold it up. And then they could say that on average, their price is over here. But, the average is out.
Well, that was done on purpose. They got us all dependent on this shit, and now they got us by the balls. If we want to go anywhere, do anything, or go to work and all that other stuff, you're dependent on that fucking gasoline guzzling fucking vehicle, and then they'll charge whatever the fuck they want to charge. They got you by the balls. It's all done by design. We need to actually, seriously, start thinking outside the box. These fucking greedy motherfuckers are trying to rule our everyday life. And I mean, we don't have any time to do anything else. We're always fucking working to fucking pay bills just so we can live and stay in a place, have a roof over our head, and not be called homeless because you can't afford it. So that's why there's so much homeless people out there. It's not because of the mental shit. It's because you can't afford to live. There's so many goddamn people with their hand out trying to take the shit that you make. You don't ever have anything for yourself. I mean, you got to take in for the cost of living and all that other stuff. And then the fucking IRS, which we need to abolish, needs to fucking just have their cut first. Yeah, fuck that shit. Insurance companies is another goddamn scam. That's legalized theft right there.
Looking like they gouge on
I mean, you know, shit.
They are gouging.
If you were to take that fucking same damn money and put that in the goddamn in a little jar somewhere, you'd have enough damn money to like pay for any medical bills or anything like that. But no, you gotta pay it. You gotta do it by law, or you'll be punished if you don't pay into this insurance companies that don't do shit but collect money.
Energy-producing and oil-producing country in the world. Then why does the
I mean, seriously, if it's your money that you're putting into this thing,
they want to charge more?
and if you never have to ever use it, when you get to a point where you don't need the insurance anymore, that should be your money, right? You should get that back, right? No, that's gone. That's already gone. That's not your money. It's all a lie. It's a fucking scam. You make people fucking rich for not doing shit, and then they have it backed by statutes and codes that fucking that end up penalizing you if you don't give them money. It's the same thing with taxes. Taxes, they've got it set up to where if you don't pay your taxes, which is theft in the first place, it's extortion. If you don't pay it, they'll penalize you. Well, they'll send guys with guns after you to take it. Probably put you in a cage somewhere. And if you resist, they'll probably kill you for not paying their extortion fee. I mean, for real, people. You gotta think about it for what it really is, not for what they tell you what it is. You gotta seriously look at it for what it really is. It's extortion, it's theft. Because if anybody had a choice, they wouldn't pay it. Because God, honestly, man, seriously, it really comes down to it. If all of this shit, when it comes down to taxes and blah, 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 whatever, if all this was legit and people really liked it, they would have no problem to give it out. They wouldn't need a punishment or penalties if you don't do it. If it was legit and all well and good, people would do it on their own free will. But no, they want to force you into giving up that free will and saying, well, I don't want to get penalized, or I don't want to get in trouble, so I'll pay it. So they volunteer. They're forcefully volunteering to do it. Forcefully volunteering to do it. You know, so that's kind of funny too. How can even paying taxes is supposed to be voluntary? How can it be voluntary if you're forced to do it? Forced volunteerance. You know, people, we got to start acting we got to start exercising our free will that God gave us in the first place. And because this forced acceptance, forced compliance, forced volunteerism, you know, forced into volunteering to whatever they tell you to volunteer for. They give you a certain amount of choices, like 2 choices. And it's like, okay, this is your 2 choices. That's all you got. What? Who in the hell give you the fucking authority? Who gives you the fucking authority to choose how many choices I got? I have the freedom of choice. That means any choice, not just the ones you give me. But then there's the reality that it's not legit, not for the good of the people. It's because that's why if it's not good for the people and not legit, you have to enforce it. You have to use violence and fear for people to comply, because people know deep down in our heart that this is wrong. I mean, you can probably pinpoint anything in the government. It doesn't anything that government hands that got their hand in and you can point it out and say, and you know in your gut that this is wrong and it shouldn't be. And that is the reason why they've got to use force to make us submit to it. Because they know it's wrong. They know it's right. And that's not, for the good of the people. It's only benefiting these so-called self-appointed elite people. The ones that got all the control over a lot of the land and a lot of the finances and monetary system. And they're trying to control every aspect of our lives to make money off of us. Pay their debts. And try and say that their debts are ours. The society's, the people's debts. That's bullshit. The people, society didn't make those debts. The fucking politicians and bankers and oil companies and all them, they fucking made the debts. People out there fucking making debts with other countries and other fucking entities. Because that's all the damn government is right now, is a corporation. It's just exists on nothing but piece of paper. That's all it does. It's not an actual person. You can't say, I want to talk to the government and it be like a person that you can talk to. It's not. The government is made up of thousands of people. Thousands of people. Alright? And that makes the conglomerate, the whole of that government. So you can't just go to and say, well, like, for instance, I have a claim against the government, and then you can have the government in court with you. Well, you don't. You have a representative of the government, which is nothing but a corporation that exists on paper. It is not real. Neither is this damn money that this fiat currency they put out there for us to use. They've given us no choice. They told us this is the way it is and accept it. And if you don't, we'll use force against you. That's tyranny. And people, we gotta wake up to this shit, because honestly, man, and I know people probably do realize it, but it's not clicking in their head. Because this is all they've born into. They've born into this shit. All of us have been born into it. Because they've been fucking with us for generations. They've been trying, ever since the Declaration of Independence and the fucking Constitution was written, to begin with, ever since then, people have been actively trying to destroy it. Actively trying to manipulate the system to the point where it is not what it was founded to be, and completely opposite. That's why we live in like this opposite land today. Because it's been growing and flourishing, and people have been nurturing this idea of socialism and communism and Marxism and all that fucking isms and shit. You got other influences that are trying to come into this country, and they've been doing it for many generations, probably over about 100 years. Probably over 100 years, actually. But I'm gonna tell you something, man. I think it's about time where diplomacy is almost too late, because these people that think they have the moral right to rule over us and we have the moral obligation to obey them, these people are not going to stop until they have the whole thing in their hands. And they're willing to kill us all off to keep it and hold on to it. Their willingness to kill us all off to hold on to control and power that they have makes them think that they have jurisdiction and authority over every single person on this planet. And That's pure evil, and that needs to be eradicated. And somebody was sitting there saying, we were talking about this one time when it comes down to the whole scenario, and for some reason God was brought into the subject. God was brought up into the conversation, and I was like, well, it has nothing to do with God. He said, what do you mean? I was like, well, I mean, who do you think rules this planet? I mean, seriously, if you sit down and think about it, who do you think rules this planet? It sure as hell ain't God. Because if it was, it'd be a lot better. It's not God that rules over this planet. God give us all free will. And there's some that exercise their free will and use violence and death and all that stuff to get what they want with that free will. And then there's the others that would like to be able to use their free will, but they're in fear of those that use their free will punish them if they use theirs. Put it this way, it's like comes down to like this gun issue. We have the God-given right to defend ourselves, and we need to have access to any weapon that the military has, because we are the last national defense, the last line of national defense in this country. It's not the military. It's not the goddamn National Guard. It's not any of that. That's not the last line of defense. The people on this land is. Not the elite, not the politicians, not these fuckers out there that are sneaking around in the background, that are fucking, writing shit down and passing it in as legislation or whatever. These people are not the ones that are going to be the last line of defense. Most likely they're going to try and watch it burn so they can control what's left behind. But I'm going to tell you, man, I seriously, I've said it before, and I'll say it again. There's a part of me that I look at one hand and the other. On one hand, I understand that there will be a lot of death and a lot of destruction when the shit hits the fan. I mean, on a serious, if not countrywide or global-wide scenario. I understand that will happen, but I actually, man, on one hand, I want it to happen now, because the sooner we get it on, the sooner we can get done with it and get back to our normal lives. You know what I mean? That's how I feel about it. It's like, okay, the faster we start it, the faster we can get it over with. You know what I mean? It's kind of like ripping the Band-Aid off. Or, on the other hand, I hope it never happens. Ever. And I hope it gets better, because in the track that it's on right now, that it's been on for a while, it's heading straight toward destruction or tyranny. And the true Americans, the true patriots of this country, I'm going to tell you something. It's in our DNA to rebel. Alright? It's in our DNA to rebel against tyranny. That's one of the reasons why most people decided to leave the monarchy over there in Europe. And they told that fucking bitch, say, fuck you, Queen. We don't need your ass. We're going to be free people on our own land. Fuck you. We don't need you. It's in our DNA. And but that's another reason why they're trying to, mix it up in this country. They're trying to bring all these fucking people from all these other countries and stuff like that, man, and flood it in, and then do all this transgender shit and this fucking blah blah, the LGBTQ, LMNOPQXYZ fucking bullshit, because it dilutes it dilutes that what made a great America, that what made America the best fucking place in the world. All right. And see, that's the other thing too. You got all these other countries around the world that are all either socialist countries, communist countries, or whatever, you know, very totalitarian type governments and stuff, and they're all plotting against ours. Well, actually, they're trying to bring our country into their fold. You know, say, well, the rest of us don't think that you should have all your freedoms and your liberties and individual liberties and freedoms. We don't think you should have that. We should think you should give that up to an all-powerful sovereign, which is the world government, which they're going to try and use the UN as that. The UN is the world government of other governments. So, I mean, I really don't like the idea of anybody ruling over me. I sure as hell don't like people over in fucking Washington, D.C. that I've never met before in my life think that they can rule over me. I sure as hell fucking don't want some motherfuckers around a goddamn table in another fucking country that are not even fucking Americans making decisions and ruling over me. Who in the fuck do any of these people think they are to tell me how I should live, how I should think, what I should say? Fuck you, is what I say. It's really interesting that there are so many people out there, and I mean not a lot, but a lot of people out there that really want somebody to rule over them. They really want somebody to tell them exactly what to fucking do every fucking day, you know, because they can't think for themselves. They can't process any fucking critical thinking. I mean, in some ways, I think it would be a good thing. Out of the chaos would spring up some really beautiful things. I can see it now. Out of the ashes will be brand new living flowers. You know, let's like you saw out of the ashes of a fucking destroyed city, you start seeing sprouts of new grass and sprouts of flowers and, you know, wildflowers spreading up through the ashes. You know, it's the idea is, you know, if this is going to happen, which they're really trying to push it to happen because they think they can win and they can control whatever's left behind. The thing is, man, they're wrong. All right. They think they can tame us and domesticate us like, you know, pets or horses or something. You know. There's a lot of people out there that are dumb, stupid, idiot fucking monkeys, man. And they're just, tell me what to do, George. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, in some ways, when the shit hits the fucking fan and everything goes to chaos, you know, you gotta weed out all the fucking stupid, which would be good. And then on top of that, all these people that think they can rule over us, they're all going to be wiped out too. They haven't figured it out themselves. They think they're smarter than all of us. They think they know better than all of us. But it's kind of like the old saying, you reap what you sow. Well, if they're looking for the chaos and they're trying to sow chaos, they're going to get chaos. But that chaos cannot be controlled. All right? They think they can control what comes after the chaos. But the chaos cannot be controlled. And that is when chaos will envelop them. Those elite, those so-called powerful people out there that think they can rule over all of us. They're going to create the chaos, but that chaos is going to turn on them, and it's going to envelop them, and we will be rid of that. You know, it could be like 1,000 years of actual peace on this planet without that evil. So that's why I say, on one hand, I hope it happens like right now. Like the power goes out, and you know, that's one of those things where just like, you know, or nuke happens to go off somewhere in the U.S. I don't know, or like the fucking I don't know, one of the super volcanoes blow up. I don't know, man. Just whatever, meteor hit. I don't know. Hope whatever happens right fucking now. I at least want to be either ground zero, so I'll be done and over with. That'd be it. Or I want to be at least far enough away from wherever whatever happens where I have at least a half-ass chance to survive and thrive for the rest of my life and future generations. Because I really, I know in my heart that something big is coming. I mean, I know it in my gut, and it's just, it's like I'm tired of this waiting game because I know it's happening. I know it's coming. I have a gut feeling it's coming. So I mean, it's just gut feeling. So I say I know. But it's like I'm tired of waiting. Let's just get it on. So the faster we get it on, and the faster we can get it over with, you know, where it, you know, we can get back to living and living right, you know, living how God intended us to do, you know, because I mean, honestly, man. There's a lot of mischievous souls out there, and trying to just wants to destroy everything. Everything needs to be destroyed. It's kind of like, you know, you see some of these abandoned houses, abandoned buildings, and stuff like that. You know, and there's some people that go to these abandoned places and they just can't help it. They've got to bust a window. They see a piece of glass somewhere that's not busted, and they have to bust it. It's just that, you know, that thing that has to be, you know, where, you know, you can't let it be. You've got to destroy it. You cannot let it be. You have to destroy it. You have to control it. You have to, you know that type of person. Unfortunately, that type of person has gotten their way into high up positions of government, and now they're telling the rest of the people that, you know, hey, we wrote down these words on a piece of paper, and now you guys got to live by it, and if you don't, we'll punish you. What? That sure as hell doesn't sound American. That just sounds like some fucking Russian fucking goddamn communist fucking shit. It's like, you do what we tell you, or else. You know, comply or die. I mean, seriously, if you look at the police state when it comes down to it, I mean, it's really getting down to that. I mean, it's like, I really don't know anybody that gets pulled over by a cop today that their heart rate doesn't go up a little bit, because, you know, you could get your ass fucking shot. I mean, this cop could be a fucking wackadoo, man, and he's had a bad fucking day, and you just happen to look at him wrong, and he's gonna fucking shoot you. And for what? Your taillight was out or something? I mean, for real. I mean, your taillight being out, is that a death sentence? Evidently it is today. I mean, there's been situations where, I mean, you know, somebody that made an illegal U-turn. By God, they killed him. I mean, you know, what the fuck, dude?